Hello and welcome back to Tropics Talk. Meteorologist Jim Dickey with you this morning as we continue to track Invest 93L, as it's been dubbed by the National Hurricane Center, a little area of low pressure we've been watching for you all week long to this point. As we discussed yesterday, the storm took a northern track compared to the various tracks that were laid out by the models earlier on this week when it was east of Florida, and that has kept it from developing. As we zoom in right now, it's tough to make out where the center of this sort of disorganized mess is. When you look at the satellite presentation, you can see in the lower levels the south to north motion east of Louisiana. You can see the thunderstorms drifting westward. Yeah, there is that broad circulation that is just to the east of the coast of Louisiana, the eastern side of Louisiana right now, the east of the mouth of the Mississippi. As I think where the center of this thing is, meaning it is quickly running out of real estate, running out of room to try to spin up. Now, the Hurricane Center still holding with a 30% development chance in their update at 8 o'clock here on this Thursday morning. But as I said yesterday, I'd take the under on that development chance. Yes, could a short-lived tropical depression spin up here in the next couple of hours? Sure. Not out of the realm of possibility. It's not going to matter much as far as what this brings to Louisiana, to coastal Mississippi, Alabama, perhaps even into eastern Texas. More rounds of heavy rainfall here today, leading to the potential for flooding. In fact, here are the rain totals, the rain total forecast from the Weather Service. 5-day rain potential, yeah, but most of this will fall today and tonight. Little bullseye there. 5 to 8 inches of rain in southern Louisiana. This is from the Weather Prediction Center, showing a 3 out of 4 on the threat scale for flash flooding in south central Louisiana. At the very least, sort of that 2 out of 4 threat, flash flooding possible across much of southern Louisiana and all the way back to the Panhandle today. So flooding, the main threat. It all serves as a reminder, even a weak, disorganized tropical system as this one is, even something that doesn't come together can still put down some big rain totals, can still bring the potential for some flooding. But after today, this will sort of be it for Invest 93L. If it doesn't come together today as it moves over land, it won't. Looking out across the rest of the Atlantic, it remains pretty quiet out there. Especially true across the Caribbean, across what we call the main development region in the eastern Atlantic. Big part of the reason why, Saharan dust. There's still a lot of Saharan dust out there right now, stretching from the Gulf in light concentrations to another sort of heavier burst of that dust is moving into the Caribbean. Now another wave will emerge off of Africa as we go into Friday and the weekend. So remember, that dust sets up in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, sort of puts a cap on things, keeps ordinary thunderstorms from developing, let alone being able to organize into a tropical depression or tropical storm. As I zoom things back out, you can see the dust basically spans all the way from Bay of Campeche all the way back to Africa by Sunday. So that will tend to keep things quiet. Next week, though, starting to see the first hints on the models that maybe we get something to flare up out there in the main development region. Perhaps the first Cabo Verde storms of the season. Now, the chances still fairly low as you run the models out. Nothing looking all too impressive. Not a very strong signal for development, but I think the takeaway here is there is at least some signal for the first time this year. This is the ensemble of the European forecast model. Again, you take the model, you tweak it a number of different ways, and this gives you an idea of the probability of a particular outcome. A couple of the members of that ensemble are trying to spin something out of one tropical wave by the mid part of next week that noses its way towards the Caribbean, and a second tropical wave that moves off of Africa towards the tail end of the week. Again, neither of consequence, just signs of the times. The more likely area to watch next week, same scenario we've seen play out a couple of times here already this hurricane season. Front moves off the Carolinas and then just sort of sits there for a couple of days. We could get something sloppy to try to spin up out of that, exactly like what we were talking about earlier on this week. The same setup that produced Barry, the same setup that produced Chantal. So, again, something we'll be watching for. Yeah, we expect to see things expanding a little bit development-wise as we go through the next couple of weeks, as we head into August. These are the typical formation areas during the month of July. We look back over the last 100 years. Yeah, the setup we've seen play out a couple of times non-tropical low set up over warm waters close to home. Homegrown development, pretty typical in July. But you don't see much going in the Caribbean or the eastern side of the basin. That changes into August. Take a look at this. The real estate we have to work with expands. Shear tends to go down. There's less dust out there, especially by the second half of the month. And by mid to late August, when we really start to crank out activity in the eastern side of the basin, start to open that up for business. So again, not much of a surprise to see the model starting to hint at perhaps next week. And certainly as we go into August, we could start to see more development out there in the eastern side of the basin. But for now, outside of what we're dealing with this morning in Louisiana, the tropics fairly quiet. I'm not seeing any threats to Florida specifically anytime soon. Until next time, I'm meteorologist Jim Dickey. Have a great day.